The New York Knicks look like straight trash. Sanitation workers wouldn't have wanted to show up in Madison Square Garden.
And it's like the cool thing right now is not the Knicks.
The Knicks are a laughing stock. They're a laughing stock with fans, except for some delusional Knicks fans in New York.
They have been a national, I apologize, an international embarrassment to the sport of basketball.
The Brooklyn Nets are ascendant in New York City. The Knicks will not be a thing.
Somebody's gotta say it!
The New York Knicks select R.J. Barrett from Toronto and Duke University.
Are the Knicks back?
When you think Knicks, you think stinking team. That's been the majority of their history at this point, certainly of their recent history. This is something new. I'm not going to sit here and deny the truth. They're a young, exciting team. The culture seems healthy. It looks like Dolan finally got out of the way.
Adrian Wojnarowski reporting that the New York Knicks have actually finalized a deal with Tom Thibodeau. It'll
Quickly has been a revelation. I think the Derrick Rose move was really good.
This isn't happening in Madison Square Garden. This isn't happening in New York City.
New York, we here.
The New York Knicks. Madison Square Garden, the Mecca of basketball. The Knicks, as an organization, have been mediocre to say the least for the last decade, at least pre-2021. An organization that hasn't made it out of the first round in almost a decade and haven't made it to a conference final in 22 years. Years of lottery picks with little to show for it. The Knicks have an owner who is checked out and a front office who is disconnected with his coaching staff. This is what I'm here to do. I am here to fix the New York Knicks. Welcome to the first episode under the tenure of GM Red. Okay, so as promised, we are here with episode 1 of the New York Knicks MyLeague on the channel. But before I do get started, as always, make sure you show some love down below. It's free. It only helps the little community here grow. And this series was suggested by a viewer, like I brought up in the last episode. And if you guys are new to these series, I'm going to give y'all a rundown of how I do these. In episode 1, it's usually a roster building episode, assessing the roster, really setting a tone for the series, whether we're going to be trying to contend in the first episode or in the first season, whether we're going to try to tank and get a draft pick, stuff like that. So, as per this comment, which is why I'm doing this series, he says we need to build a big three. So the goal is hopefully going to be to contend in the first season with a big three behind it. Now, these are going to be the rules I have set for this MyLeague. We're not going to mess with any of the setup options. We're going to have every single restriction active: the Stiffian rule, the 30-60-90 rule, restricted free agents, trade finances, waiver rules, dead cap. All of that's going to be on. Conversations, morale, and chemistry are all on. Everything is on every restriction and everything to make it more difficult. And then, as promised, like you saw in the intro, we're going to be going to the New York Knicks, the Mecca, MSG, one of the most iconic arenas in the world, and especially in the US. We're going to load a draft class in. I don't even know if we're going to be in the lottery for the next draft. We're going to load in the 2022 draft anyway, because the 2022 draft is coming up, so we want it to be realistic. Now, the Knicks. The Knicks haven't been great this year. They haven't been great. They gave Julius Randle an absolute bag over 5 years, and then after last year's, or even during last year's postseason, after last year's regular season, he dropped off. Like, let's look at his numbers here. Career stats. Oh, I guess he went up in terms of, or no, he dropped this year in real life. But they don't have it here for his career stats. So he had a career year last year, but then he dropped off this season. So We're going to have to figure out if we want to get behind Julius Randle, if we want to get behind RJ Barrett, who we want to put all of our pieces behind and build around, because they have a ton of young talent. So I feel like I can build a solid team around whoever I decide I want to build around. So even though it's a hot take, Julius Randle is up for grabs. Now, I know a lot of Knicks fans love Julius Randle, but he is going to be up for grabs. Derrick Rose could be had. Depends on if the right offer is made. RJ Barrett, I'd like to keep RJ Barrett around. Ideally, I would like to keep him around because he has high potential, and I think he can just be a great player in this league in due time. Mitchell Robinson, usually in 2K, I really like Mitchell Robinson. He's really good for me, but he's a young asset that could be flipped on a one-year deal. So who knows? He's 23 years old. He's a really good center. So I might keep a hold of Mitchell Robinson. Kemba Walker. Let me get the kombucha rolling. We got the ginger ale flavor once again. I still got the empty bottle from the last time we drank ginger ale, but we got ginger ale on deck. Kemba Walker. Now, as much as I like to keep Kemba around, he's been hooping recently, but I feel like let me preface this. To the person who requested this series, to build a big three, we need to trade some of your guys' fan favorites. So whether it's Kemba, whether it's D Rose, Julius Randle, RJ, some of the fan favorites are going to be leaving. So one of the two guys I really want to keep on the team is Cam Reddish. I really like Cam Reddish in real life. He's an elite perimeter defender. He is coming into his own as a shooter and as a player overall. So I like to keep Cam Reddish in New York. And then Obi Toppin. I also really like Obi Toppin. He's not the greatest shooter, but I feel like if we surround the starting five with shooters around Obi Toppin, he really can take off in his career. He has high potential, A potential. So in the long run, he's going to be really good for us. An A inside game. Obi Toppin, I overall really like Obi Toppin in real life, but we need to build a solid roster for him to flourish long term. Even though the goal is to build a big three, they have a ton of young talent. Whether it's RJ Barrett, whether it's Cam Reddish, whether it's Obi Toppin, they have a ton of young talent here in New York. But the goal is to build a big three. So as much as I love all of this young talent, a big three must be made. Okay, so I have several offers for this trade package. This is my favorite one. I've received a ton of really good trade offers for certain packages, but one of them included there's the Bam Adebayo and Victor Oladipo trade. There's so many trade packages that I don't know which one to choose. There's Darius Garland, there's John Collins, there's Rudy Gobert, there's Franz Wagner and Mo Bamba, there's Sabonis, there's Van Vliet, there's DeJounte Murray and Keldon Johnson, there's Shea, and there's Denny Avdia, there's Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is my favorite one, just because Zach LaVine was in MVP talks at the start of this season. But Shea would be better for the future because he's just so good. But Zach LaVine, but there's also Bam and there's also Rudy. So I'm gonna take a step. I'm gonna take a step back and I'm gonna dissect this and really figure out what trade package I want to make, because we're giving up a young asset in RJ Barrett. He's probably our highest starred trade asset. He has 4-star trade value. He's probably our biggest asset right now. So I'm really going to have to pick and choose who I want to trade for here. Let's go. I'm excited to finally build this New York Knicks squad. And if you can't tell by the clip, Zach LaVine comes to the Madison Square Garden in exchange for Kemba Walker, RJ Barrett, and a lottery-protected first-round pick. We also get Tony Bradley in the package from the Chicago Bulls. Zach LaVine is having an insane year in Chicago this year ever since they build pieces around him. And I feel like under the lights of the Madison Square Garden, he can elevate his career so much further. And with Zach LaVine being the first piece of our big three, I'm really excited for the future of this Knicks squad. With Zach LaVine's versatility in terms of getting his own shot, he's great off the dribble, he's great as a spot up, he is an elite finishing at the rim, he has an elite mid-range 3-point shot, he can do it all. With his versatility in terms of offensive production, he really leaves my options open in terms of who I can trade for, as long as it's not a 2-guard. This is why I feel like Zach LaVine was a phenomenal first piece to build this Knicks big three. All right, this is probably the biggest trade yet. Julius Randle, Evan Fournier, a 2022 second, and a 2023 second from the Pistons for Bam Adebayo, and Duncan Robinson. Now, Julius Randle's having a down year, and after folding in the playoffs in 2021, we bring in a proven playoff performer in Bam Adebayo after his 2020 bubble run, and an elite floor spacer around him in Duncan Robinson, also bringing in our second piece of the big three, obviously, in Bam Adebayo. Now, while Bam isn't as versatile offensively, defensively, Bam is one of the best defenders in the league. He's a continuous defensive player of the year candidate and a all-defensive team player for the last couple seasons. Bam Adebayo is an elite defender. He brings that defensive skill we need at the rim. He can also defend at the perimeter. He can defend the 1 through 5. He is just an overall versatile defender and an elite offensive scorer. While not being versatile, he can do it at the rim and in the mid-range and in the post. And I also feel like Bam Adebayo and Zach LaVine are going to fit well together, especially since their skill sets kind of offset each other, with Bam being really good defensively and Zach LaVine being highly skilled offensively. I feel like they're going to mesh really, really well. Okay. We have 2 out of the 3 pieces of our big 3. We need that final piece. Call it Thanos with the Infinity Stones. We send Derrick Rose, Nerlens Noel, a 2022 first, and Taj Gibson. Now, there's the trade package. Tell me who you think in the comments. Before I tell you who I got in return, tell me who you think I got in the comments. Because I will bet you $1,000 you will not guess who it is. Because this has to be up for the fleece of the century. For whatever reason, 2K let me trade that trade package for Karl Anthony Towns and Jordan McLaughlin. I was offered Drew Holiday and Bobby Portis from Milwaukee. If that's not broken enough, I was offered Karl Anthony Towns. Top 5 at his position, but Cat and Bam side by side was too good to pass up. Bam's defensive ability, paired with Cat's elite offensive skill, will be dangerous in that front court for years to come. They're both young, before their prime, and still developing. Also, trade finder's broken. Our big 3 is officially set, featuring Zach LaVine, Bam Adebayo, and Karl Anthony Towns, though a young big 3, all are elite and in the top 5 this season at their respective positions. I know I said the Bam Adebayo trade was my favorite, but it's because I forgot about this one. This one is no doubt my favorite move of the video. I had a goal at the start of this video of bringing a Knicks legend back to the Garden. If you can't tell by the thumbnail, I don't know what to tell you. 2K allowed me to trade 2 first-round picks, one that is top 10 protected in 2023 and unprotected in 2024, plus Quentin Grimes and Miles McBride, aka 2 players who are the 13th and 14th men in our rotation, for Knicks legend Carmelo Anthony and Malik Monk, both on minimum deals, and both can come in and contribute right away. Carmelo Anthony's having a phenomenal season in LA. He's going to come into New York and take on a bigger role as a starter at the small forward position alongside Bam Adebayo and Karl Anthony Towns in the front court, and Malik Monk will come off the bench as a backup 2 guard behind Zach LaVine and Emmanuel Quigley, and will play some solid regular season minutes. I don't know if he'll be in our playoff rotation just yet, but Malik Monk is absolutely hooping in LA in real life, so I figured 2 guys at the end of our bench plus 2 first-round picks for 2 guys who can come in and contribute right away and make us a much deeper team than we already were is too good to pass up, especially since one of them is Knicks legend Carmelo Anthony.
With OG got a Yankee dream. Shit, I made the Yankee hat more famous than a Yankee kid.
So, I am really, really happy with this roster. I am so happy with this roster. We have a big 3, Zach LaVine, Cat, and Bam Adebayo, all on really long deals, except Zach LaVine's contract is up this offseason. But I'm confident if we have a deep playoff run in the first season, we can get Zach LaVine back pretty easily. Mitchell Robinson stays. We bring back Nick legend Carmelo Anthony. He's coming back to wear that number 7. Cam Reddish. We hold on to Cam Reddish somehow. I refuse to give up any of these 4: Cam Reddish, Alec Burks, Emmanuel Quickly, or Obi Toppin. I like all 4 of those. Alec Burks is going to start for us at the 1. I can't make any more trades for like 60 days in the sim. So once I'm able to make trades, we'll probably ship Tony Bradley or Duncan Robinson or Jordan McLaughlin for a 1 or a backup point guard, because Alec Burks is our only point guard on the roster. But I know Emmanuel Quickly can run a little bit of the 1. Zach LaVine can run a little bit of the 1. So I'm not too concerned. And Carmelo Anthony will do a lot of ball handling off the bench. So I'm cool with that. I'm happy with this roster. I hope you guys are happy with this roster. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I got to go record some B-roll for this here video. So if you all enjoyed, make sure you show some love down below. It's free. It only helps the little community here grow. And as always, you're beautiful. I love you. Peace.
From